So that's what it looks like when it's in there and seated properly. However, the problem I'm having is I did not connect my little hose for the reservoir line. So I'm going to actually pull it back out, twist it down a little bit so I can get that hose on there and then put it back in. But that's what you should be looking at when you've got everything positioned correctly back in the car. So now that you have your clutch pedal reinstalled, and tighten up those bolts that are like way up in there, they're really hard to get to, because if you don't tighten those up before you get the cylinder in there, it is not going to be a good time. So you're actually going to install the cylinder from your little access hole right here. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to leave the camera here and do this as well, because it may be slightly a pain in the butt to do, but I'm going to give it a shot. Alright, where the hell did my... I think my rubber, yep, my rubber seal fell out. Son of a bitch, where'd it go? Oh wait, I didn't put it in there, it's over here. Duh. Told you guys to put it in. I didn't put it in. They say to put a little bit of white lithium grease maybe around the seal. That might help to slide things into position, they said. But I'm going to try doing it without it first. I just like to do things the hard way, that's why. But, yeah, here we go. And they said when it goes in, it's going to go in with this facing the 2 o'clock position once you get it where you want it. So, let's see if I can go from the top, get a little better. Yeah, I'm going to have to get the camera out of the way, but that's what you do. Slide it in that way and give it a counterclockwise twist to secure it into position. So I'm going to do that with the camera out of the way, let you know how it goes. Okay, so here's what's going on, guys. After about an hour screwing around trying to get this stupid hose onto this piece with the master cylinder installed in the car, what I've done is I've disconnected the reservoir completely to get the fluid out of there. All I did was just stuff one of these blue rags down in there, let it absorb everything, wipe it out a few good times. All you gotta do is pull it up and it comes out of the bracket that's underneath the hood. Disconnect your hoses and push this on here, because look at how much this needed to expand here. That was a pain in the ass to get on there. Even with the hose out of the car, it was not easy to get it on there. So, required quite a bit of force. When you can't get your hands up in there or anything, it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to go ahead and reconnect this line here, reinstall the master cylinder in the car, route this hose up to where it needs to be, and reconnect it up there. I did, however, notice that I had to cut about this much hose off of it because it was too long. It does recommend to do that in the instructions. I would say that's maybe about, I don't know, 3 inches or so. I don't have a ruler handy, but that's what it looks like it is. So, I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back in the car now that I have this stinking hose connected an hour later. What a pain. Okay, so after getting your pedal installed back in the car, this is what you should be looking at. You can see the new push rod there. I put the grease fitting down on the bottom so I could get a grease gun on it if I need to lubricate that later if it starts making noise or something. They also recommended a bit of Loctite, so I put a little blue Loctite on the threads. Be sure not to try to over tighten this too much, because the pedal assembly is made out of a softer metal and will pull out. So make sure you've got all your screws back in. Make sure you have all the wiring reconnected here for the sensor on the bottom. Make sure you reconnect your sensor here on the top. Make sure your 2 bolts here are tight, and those 2 bolts that are way back up in there, make sure those are all tight. And if you so please, reinstall your spring. I reinstalled mine. Make sure that the 2 bolts holding your dead pedal are back on. And the next thing to do is to bleed the line. Now, you bleed the line before you reconnect your line back. Here's the line coming out of the Tickmaster cylinder. It says what you do is fill the reservoir with fluid. have someone push the clutch pedal in, push in this little circular piece in the middle here, let the air come out, have them release the clutch pedal, push the pedal back in again, release the air, so on and so forth. They say to do that at least 5 or 6 times, making sure to get all of the air out, and also watching your reservoir level, making sure that you don't let that get too low and have it draw air into the system. They say to operate the pedal by hand, and the purpose of this is to get all the air out of this line, because obviously this has nothing in that new master cylinder, has nothing in this line, before reconnecting it to the car. So that's the next step. Here's the process of bleeding it. I've actually got something in there pushing the clutch pedal down in the car. You see this little circular piece here in the center? Just kind of push that in with a screwdriver. There you go, some air came out. Go pump your clutch pedal, do it again. Now the way you're going to tell when it's got all the air out of the system is when you heard it the first time, it went psh, and not much fluid came out. Well, now it's going to be the opposite. You're not going to hear that sound, and a bunch of fluid's going to come out. Watch this. See that? Just, it was all pretty much fluid that squirted out. You didn't hear that spritz sound like that. So I think we're all bled out. We're ready to reconnect our line. Alright, so once everything's put back together, you've got all your hoses reconnected and all that. Well, not all of them. This is the next one that you want to connect. It looks like going underneath the car, if my light will stay on, that would be nice. Come on now. Got a loose connection there. Anyways, it looks like if you get underneath the car, and there's brake fluid dripping here, and come around the side over this way, you can get to the quick disconnect and reconnect that. Now the way you do that is the clip that you made sure that you didn't lose earlier. All you do is push it together and pop this clip back in it. So yeah, I'm going to give that a whirl. I got to clean up this brake fluid off the floor first. And yeah, that should be it. And then you just have to bleed your clutch, put your spring back in your pedal and all that. It said not to put the spring back in, but I think I'm going to leave it on there because all that does is return the pedal up. It's a clutch pedal return spring, and I think I want to leave that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to reconnect this hose, and then I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to do the rest of this tomorrow. So I came back out this morning, finished up the car, guys. That was a real pain in the butt. I want to say it took me about 3 or 4 hours total to get this master cylinder installed. But I've got it in there. We're ready to rock and roll. And you can see it way down there hiding underneath. So it's in the car. And they say that you're supposed to take it out and adjust it and everything with the clutch pedal. They say to start it in neutral first, obviously because you don't know whether the clutch is going to disengage or whatever on the first try. I went ahead and just adjusted it all the way out. For the most part, just not all the way out, but enough to where it pushed the little tab right there on the clutch pedal back up to the clutch pedal sensor so that that would operate correctly. The spring is off of it for now, so I could get to the little turn to adjust everything. But I was able to pull it down off of my speed ramps and pull it out of the garage, wash out all the brake fluid from off the frame, because brake fluid is really caustic stuff. If you got it on your paint or anything, make sure you wipe it off immediately. You don't want to let that sit on the paint. But I did get some like all around the frame and stuff, so I made sure that I took the car outside and hosed out the engine bay really well to flush out all that brake fluid. But yeah, that's it. It's all installed. All I really need to do now is I have an exam tomorrow for aerospace structures, so I'm not going to be able to mess around with it tomorrow. But on Thursday during the day, I'm going to take it out, make some adjustments to it, and it'll be ready to roll, ready to take it out to the track, have a little fun with it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you know somebody that would benefit from watching this, share it with them. And make sure you subscribe, because I have a lot of other videos on how to do a lot of other stuff. Thank you again for watching.